Joining us now to talk about President Trump's first 100 days in office is James Dickey, chairman of the Travis County Republican Party. Thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
First question, James. Talking about President Trump's travel ban, of course, the Ninth Circuit Court decided not to reinstate it yesterday. White House sources saying the president might want to do some revisions, as we just heard. Which way do you think Trump is going to go? Is he going to continue with the appeals, or is he going to tweak that executive order?
I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did a little bit of both. I wouldn't be surprised if he issued a new executive order that was narrowly tailored and didn't cause some of the consternation, and now has had some more prep time to allow it to be better thought out before it gets implemented, while also appealing the ruling. I mean, if you think about it, it's really absurd that a district court judge in Washington thinks that he can overrule, first of all, Washington State shouldn't even have standing on this, and rule number one is shouldn't be allowed to bring a suit if you don't have standing. Washington State was not directly harmed. They're not a refugee. They're not they're not a visa holder.
Okay.
They have no standing. But a Washington State judge should not be able to stop this everywhere. His district doesn't even apply to most of the country.
Now, during his campaign, President Trump said he plans to fix Washington and the country. Looking at this from an ethics standpoint, there has been some controversy in recent days. One, Kellyanne Conway promoting Ivanka Trump's products on national TV. And then you have Michael Flynn, national security advisor to the president, with his alleged phone call discussing sanctions with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. What do you make of that?
Well, clearly there's some... Early in the process, there have been a few missteps, but what has been so impressive has been, for the first time in a long time, a politician, someone taking office, who has really shown a desire, an effort, a willingness to follow through on their commitments and on their campaign promises. I mean, how many times have we seen presidents say one thing on the campaign trail and not follow through for years? I mean, President Obama had promised to get rid of Guantanamo. He had 8 years. He never did it. I'm kind of glad he didn't. But regardless, that was a big campaign promise, and he never followed through on it. It's nice to see President Trump following through on so much of what he promised.
Yeah, I mean, with that in mind, initially during the primaries, you didn't support Donald Trump.
Correct. He was not my first choice, but neither was Dole, neither was Romney, neither was McCain.
Well,
I never seem to pick the guy who ends up winning.
Like so many others.
But he did end up getting the nomination, and you do back him now.
Well, talk about how he's been. If you had to grade him so far, what grade are you giving him?
Well, for a guy who's never held an elective office before, I would say it's almost straight A's. I mean, there are some things where being new to the kind of role you have to take as a president, or that I hope for out of a president, there's a little learning curve there. But none of that's a surprise to anyone who's watched Donald Trump for the last 10 or 20 years or are on the campaign trail. But in terms of Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court, that is an unbelievable, off-the-charts home run for the Supreme Court nomination. The cabinet nominations he's done, those are finally, in spite of Democrat opposition, getting through and getting in. Once they're in place, we should see less of the kind of obstructionism that we're seeing from the bureaucrats in Washington, who don't like actual change.
So straight A's so far.
Yeah, I would say there are some things on the decorum side that are certainly not straight A's. But in terms of keeping his promise, being conservative, doing what he said he would do, it's been fantastic.
All right. James Dickey, chairman of the Travis County Republican Party, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us tonight.
You bet.